I think there's a lot of support for the bill in the Senate. I think it is quite likely to pass in the Senate when it comes over on Tuesday. There are elements of this bill that are good. There are elements of the bill that are not so good. The best parts of the bill are, number one, much-needed military aid for Israel.
But it was the Ukraine aid that Democrats were celebrating, House Democrats waving the Ukraine flag on the House floor. In response, Florida Congresswoman Kat Cammack says she's working on legislation to ban foreign flags in the House chamber. Joining me now is South Carolina Congressman Ralph Norman, a member of the House Budget, Financial Services and Rules Committees. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. Walk us through the drama that took place with the passage of those bills on Saturday.
It's pretty interesting, Maria. I mean, the real reaction came when the Ukraine bill passed. The Senate has wanted that from day one. That was our only linchpin, that leverage we had to get more of what we wanted. We basically took the Senate bill, and Senator Cruz is right. They're going to pass this. It won't be very little debate. But when that passed, and when all four of them passed, that's when the flags came out. And that's against the decorum. Chip Roy stood up. Anna Paulina Luna stood up. And, and they shut it down, but it should have never happened in the first place. But it is what it is. And, imagine the American flags, for instance, if that had been flown. But they chose Ukrainian flags because that's what they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, House Speaker Mike Johnson is maintaining he did the right thing despite the threat of a motion to vacate still hanging over the House leader. I spoke with Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene with me on Sunday Morning Futures yesterday. She did not have an alternative plan. I pushed her. What's your plan? You keep threatening, making this threat. You have no plan. But she maintains that Mike Johnson surrendered any leverage you all had to secure the border at this point. Watch. You wanted Mike Johnson out. What is your alternative plan?
Mike Johnson has betrayed America. He's betrayed Republican voters. Under his leadership, he's passed the Democrat agenda, passed the Biden administration's policies, and fully funded them. We're going to fight in Congress to do everything we can to stop this type of uniparty leadership. Mike Johnson's speakership is over. He needs to do the right thing to resign and allow us to move forward in a controlled process. If he doesn't do so, he will be vacated.
And again, she had no plan, Congressman, but she's still pushing that she wants change. She wants the border secured. Your reaction to all of this?
Well, she's right, Maria, that we expected a more conservative speaker. Americans don't expect us to win every fight. They do expect us to fight. That's what's been shocking about it. But now, where I disagree with Marjorie, and I told her that, we got to have an election coming up. We have got to win this election to preserve the country. Now, if you ask most Americans, who's the next speaker? Is that at the top of their agenda? No. Inflation, the border, crime, all the above. But now's not the time. And who's in line to be speaker? Who wants it? They don't have anybody. We've only got, 6 months left. 2 months, we're going to be out of session. The American people don't deserve the drama that took place the last time we picked a speaker. So she's right. We're disappointed in Mike, but I'm not going to support it. And he is a good man. I'm not going to criticize him. But now he needs to get in the fight more than he's doing. And to borrow more money with no offsets is at the center of a lot of what he's doing that we disagree with.
Yeah, I mean, the timing of all of this is an election year. To have this kind of drama makes the GOP look unable to govern. Liz Peek, jump in here.
Good morning, Congressman. I would echo your concerns about Mike Johnson perhaps not having played his cards terribly well. But to your point, Marjorie Taylor Greene and the other critics really didn't seem to have any plan of their own or an alternative to Mike Johnson. And I guess the question to you is, what do your constituents think? Don't you think they want the Republicans in Congress to look capable, to look like Mike Johnson can herd the cats? Because, yes, to your point, we have very few months left to this election. The last time we had a big blow-up about the speakership, Republican approval ratings went through the floor, and we had started the year very strong. So I hope you and your level-headed friends can keep this motion to vacate at bay and at least get through this session without any more turmoil. Do you think that's possible?
I hope it is. And Liz, here's the danger of it. We have a one-seat majority.
Yeah.
If you want the Democrats to basically take over, then go into turmoil, try to pick another speaker. It's not the timing. There are other things that have more priorities than this. And again, who wants the job? I don't see anybody lining up to take it. And we owe it to the American people to do what we can, try to persuade Mike Johnson to stop some of to fight, I guess is the best word I know to do it. And hopefully we can do that.
All right, we will leave it there. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much. Ralph Norman joining us this morning.